So, hi everybody. This is Pete Benedict. I'm the technical host for this New York Open Center webinar. And we're happy to have you here for this event, which is an introduction to the Coaching for Transformation program. And we have with us today the two lead faculty for this training, Stephen Filante and Sharon Brown. And I'm going to hand it off to you guys now to begin the presentation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, we are really happy to be here with you tonight.
As Pete said, I'm Stephen Filante.
And I'm Sharon Brown.
And we are leading not only tonight, but we're leading the 9-month Coaching for Transformation program that starts March 4th of this year.
So we're doing this webinar tonight just to give you a taste of what that program is like and what you might experience if you decide to join us.
So in this program, we'll talk a little bit about the longer program, and we'll also give you an experience of coaching. I'm going to coach one of you, so be thinking about whether you would like to be a client.
When Stephen's coaching, you'll be seeing a number of different coaching skills, and we're going to ask you to notice those, and we'll talk about those. So you're going to learn some coaching skills tonight too.
And then after we do that, we're going to have, you'll have the opportunity to practice those coaching skills by coaching Sharon on a subject from her life. So it's going to be an interactive and hopefully fun evening just to give you a sense of coaching and the Coaching for Transformation program.
And we hope you'll stick around until the end of the call. We do have a special offer for everyone who's on the call tonight. So we're looking forward to an enjoyable evening with you.
And although we will end in an hour and a half at 8:30 Eastern Time, we will also stay after if there are any remaining questions. So be sure to write down your questions and we will get to them after the end of the call.
So we want to ask you to give yourself the gift of being fully present. You know, really set aside anything that might be distracting and imagine that we're together in a room and we're sitting in a circle. That's the way we run our trainings, and we'd like you just to imagine that you're there with us tonight. We always start our trainings with a poem or a quote. And so the one tonight is one of my favorites. It's a poem by Donna Markova, "I Will Not Die an Unlived Life." I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. And that's Donna Markova.
Okay, so I'm assuming that questions will come up for you during the course of the presentation, and you can submit them on the chat function. And so in your screen, you should be able to enable chat and type a message. Please address it to everyone so that everyone can see it, and we will answer them either during the call if we get a chance or at the end.
So we're going to start out by telling you a little bit about ourselves and our journey with coaching. We're going to give you the short version, but enough so that you get a sense of who we are. Stephen and I have been teaching together. I think we're going into our 6th or our 7th year, and so we've become really wonderful partners. and friends in the process. So I really appreciate Stephen. But I'll start. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I think sometimes people get a sense of who they should be or would be in their life when they're really young. And that was the case for me. When I was really young, about 5 or 6, I just had a sense of people, and I really found myself caring about whether people were happy or sad and really being concerned about them. And I also had a sense of things being fair or not fair, but with a child's words, I didn't have anything to put, to explain it. And as life went on, I wound up moving away from that and really moving into more of a corporate life and, climbing the corporate ladder and moving in a direction that was taking me away from my natural gifts and my natural heart-centered way. And when I discovered the coaching program, I was in a corporate job, and it really felt like I had come home to myself, like I had found my tribe and really connected again with the things that were most important to me. And so I realized those gifts I had as a child were really the compassion and the sense of justice that's so important to me right now. And my coaching career really helped me get connected with that. So after the program, a couple of years later, I was able to leave my corporate job and become a full-time coach and trainer. I'm loving what I do every minute, and also really passionate about bringing coaching skills into community settings, and I've been doing that as well, and have some amazing colleagues that are working for social justice. I think it's something that's really important and needed in the world now. So that's a little bit about me.
Thanks, Sharon. Every time I hear Sharon introduce herself, I'm aware of what a gift you are to the world, just in your presence, but also in how you care about students, about communities, and that you put that into action. So,
Yes.
thank you. So a little bit about me. I walked into my first coaching course in 1999. I had an ex who had been trying to convince me for 3 years that I would like coaching, and I didn't believe it. I went reluctantly, and like Sharon, when I walked into my coaching class, I really felt like I had found my tribe, people that I belonged with, my home. And for me, it was suddenly I was surrounded by people who cared about transformation, both their own, other people's, and the world. And to be able to sit in a group with people who are that committed to their own growth and to the growth of others was completely inspiring to me, also really fun, also really moving, also opened my heart. So, but I was pretty convinced I didn't want to be a coach. And what I didn't know is that it took realizing that to be a coach, all I had to do was to be willing to talk about what it was I was doing, because I was excited about it, and ask people if they wanted to do it with me. And that I didn't have to be a master marketer, that I didn't have to be a go-getter entrepreneur, that I just had to be willing to talk to people about what I did and see if they wanted to do it with me. And once I realized that, there was an almost immediate shift to really wanting to be a coach. And I realized that I hadn't wanted to be a coach because I was afraid to want to be a coach, because I was afraid I couldn't do it. And it was easier, I didn't even know this, it was only afterwards that I realized it was easier to not know, to hide that wanting, than to want it and not be able to have it. So part of my commitment is to be able to open that up for people. The opportunity to be a coach, if that's what you want to be, or to use those skills in your current life, because these skills are useful no matter what you do. So I'm trying to think. That's probably plenty for me, because we want to talk to you a little bit about the coaching program, and talking about our own introduction to coaching also leads us into talking about how we teach coaching. So an example which is inspired me way back when, was when I was in certification. I had a coach, and I had a coaching session where I felt really horrible, and I was hopeless, whiny, victim-y, sad. I was really at the absolute bottom. And it was an amazing experience, because maybe for the first time in my life, I had someone who met me right where I was and didn't judge, didn't fix it, didn't try and take it away from me, didn't feel sorry for me, and really believed that with the help of coaching, I could find my own answers. And that's what we do. We start from the assumption in our program that our clients have their own answers, and that coaching can help them find that for themselves.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. And also that by connecting to the things that are most important to them, helping them get access to the wisdom of their body, connecting them to those core values, the things that are most important, the actions that they take then become aligned with those core values. So for me, actually being able to choose a career and live it out that takes into account those core values that were true for me when I was younger, of compassion and justice. It actually, I took steps as a result of my coach training that are helping me live a life that feels very authentic for me and true. And that's what we do both with our students in the program and the folks that we coach.
So a big part of coaching is asking the people we're coaching questions, rather than giving advice or telling them what to do, taking it on ourselves. We ask them questions that help them discover what it matters to them and what they want to do. And then and the other thing that's different from a normal conversation is we invite them to make choices and take actions that lead them in the direction that they want to be going, that they're discovering in the coaching.
Yeah, thanks. One of the things that I especially love about this program, in addition to finding a tribe, is that this is one of, if the only, it's definitely the leader in culturally aware coaching, so that people find a home here, regardless of their cultural background, race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, age. And the program actually has such a diverse mixture of people, and our faculty is culturally diverse. And so I think that's something that is especially exciting for me about the program. Each time we come together as a group, we're forming a community with a very diverse group of people who become like family over the course of the 9 months that we're together.
So just to be very clear about that, in the 9-month program, Sharon and I are the leaders for the whole program, and the same group, which is a group of 35 to 40, is present throughout the whole program for the both in-person and on the phone sections of the program. So it allows the community to develop and deepen and continue after the program is over.
Yeah, so let's see. This is a holistic approach to coaching. It's a mind, body, soul, spirit approach. It's what spoke to me when I first heard about it. I'm someone who is very spiritual, and the idea of coaching that was going to really tap into the whole person spoke to me really deeply.
I like that this program is both absolutely based in whole body, intuition, emotion. It's also very practical. It's designed to give you practical tools that really move someone who is stuck or lost or confused to a place where they are fully alive and creative. So it's that kind of technology that you develop, plus we teach you about how to practically do this as well. So during the 9-month program, you will also experience coaching people outside the program and learning how to, who it is you most want to work with, how you want to connect with them, what you want to say to them, and you'll begin creating a business. And people can take this program for their own personal growth, to improve their skills at their current work, or to become a professional coach.
So there are people who come into the program from many different fields. There are people who come from corporate. There are holistic wellness practitioners that come in. They're, a mixture of stay-at-home moms and retired people and nonprofit social justice folks. And so, there's that diversity as well from the type of organizations people come from. And a lot of people are finding that they use these skills in their own personal life as well. So you'll learn how to use them formally, and you'll also learn how to use them informally. Certainly has made a difference in my personal life in many, many ways.
So the thing that you can expect, we're describing the program, and it's what we want to also convey is that it's we can't do it so much here, but it's a very interactive approach. So we'll introduce material, we'll practice it as a group, then we'll have you practice it in pairs or small groups, come back and talk about it together. You learn by doing, and you connect deeply, because what you're doing is talking to people who are wanting to change their lives, and then they are coaching you in return about something you want to explore and deepen and shift in your own life. So we're sharing at a very deep level. Everyone chooses the level they want to share at, and so we get to know each other and care about each other, and everyone gets committed to the growth and success of everyone else in the room. So it's a connected, heart-centered, practical, interactive, fun, playful group class. I guess you'd call it a class, but it doesn't feel like a class.
It feels like a community to me.
It does.
Learning community is how I describe it. One thing I wanted to say is people ask us what's the difference between coaching and therapy. And, therapy, there's many overlaps. Therapy tends to be something that focuses on what's wrong and on a pathology and helps people go back and get unlocked or unblocked there. Coaching can touch on that as well, but primarily it's a forward-focused practice. So people are identifying where they want to go, and we're taking them deeper so that they're discovering more about what's important about that, and then moving into action that's really aligned with those discoveries that they have. So that coaching is much more of a forward-focused, client-driven process.
So Sharon, I think we could show the first slide. What do you think?
Great. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to look at the first slide, which is going to describe the requirements for the 9-month program. And so we're just going to talk about this briefly so you have an idea what's involved. And so the training is that it's actually a total of 140 hours. That's in person and on the phone. So there's 6 Saturday and Sundays starting March 4th and ending just before Thanksgiving in November. And then 34 mostly every week teleclasses that run an hour and a half, and which run Tuesday evenings and Wednesday noons. And you get to choose which one that you want to attend. And that's where we present the material, practice the material, and deepen the learning.
The teleclasses Stephen mentioned we use a technology that actually simulates the in-person environment, so that when you're on the call for that hour and a half, we can have everyone together in a group. We can put you in pairs or small groups. The faculty can visit the groups. And so we're able to recreate almost with, everything without the visual, what we have when we're in the in-person environment. And we have core faculty that will be with us this year, so there'll be a total. Faculty, Stephen and I each teach 10 of the teleclasses, and the other 3 core faculty members will be teaching the others.
So that's the training. In addition to that, you'll see up on the slide mentoring, total of 10 hours, 4 group sessions, and then 4 individual sessions. The mentoring is the process where you get one-on-one feedback about your coaching. And this is designed, again, to grow you as a coach and in your coaching skills. Many people say this is the most valuable part of the program. I know that for me, it was where I really grew my coaching to where I could really feel confident with it, because I had a mentor listening to what I did and then giving me specific feedback that told me where I was, what I did well, and what I could do better. And then told me, okay, and then if you practice these things, then you can move to the next step. And so it's practical, and it's like someone taking me by the hand and walking me into my competency as a coach. So incredibly valuable.
I agree. Like Stephen, my mentor, who just was fiercely committed to my growth and development as a coach. And I owe her so much of who I am today as a coach, was because of that commitment on her part. So definitely agree.
Go ahead.
See here the mid-program review, and that's when mid-program Stephen and I meet with each person, each student in the class, individually for 30 minutes, and it's a chance to really check in and see what's working well, where you'd like to go and head in the second half of the program. We give you some samples from the written assessment just so that you get a feel of what that's going to be like. And it's just a time to connect with each person, just to see, what's important and how we can support you in the rest of the program.
So just quickly going through the other elements, we have you coaching from the first day, practice coaching. And you'll coach, of course, in class, but we'll also have you coaching with a classmate, which is 1 hour as a coach, 1 hour as a client. As a total, you'll end up being, you need a minimum of 40 hours of practice coaching outside the classroom setting, either outside the in-person and teleclass time. So 40 hours total. The coaching that you do with your classmates counts as that. So that practice is where you get to get better at the things we teach you in the training.
And it helps you build your confidence about getting clients and working with people and even getting paid. So it's great support, that peer coaching. practice coaching and peer coaching. And then we're going to ask you to work with a certified coach for 6 hours, and that's a CFT certified coach, so a graduate of the program or one of the faculty members. And that way you're actually experiencing being coached, the skills that you're learning, you're actually experiencing a coach using those skills with you so that you get a real feel for what it's like, and it supports your coaching as well. And that is the only thing that's a separate fee. We have a variety of coaches willing to work with people at all different, for all different budgets, so that shouldn't be a concern for anyone.
When you graduate from the program, you will be a certified professional coach, and demonstrated by your oral competence during either the individual mentoring, or if you don't during that time, then an additional 30-minute oral assessment plus the written assessment. So we like people to know that this is a real certification program. You come out of this with a certification that is accepted worldwide. We're certified by we're accredited by the International Coach Federation. So after this training, you have what you need to be a professional coach in the world.
And that's a credential you can use both individually on your own. Some people do it, you know, when I was certified, I worked, I was still working full-time in my corporate job, and I had 4 clients in the evening. And, you know, some people actually, as Stephen mentioned earlier, use their coaching skills in their existing companies. And so, you know, that certification can actually be something that can be useful for you in your own company. Many people have advocated for creating in-house positions as a coach, or, you know, coaching some of the employees there in a more formal way. Okay.
I'm wondering, Sharon.
Oh, you know, Stephen, it looks like we lost your audio at least. Okay.
I'm back. That was just because my dog was barking.
Oh, okay. I did want to say quickly before we move on that Coaching for Transformation, which we call CFT, is offered in a number of locations in the US. It's also offered in India, and it's offered by distance learning. So there are plenty of options. The one that Stephen and I will be teaching always starts in March, and there's another one at the Open Center that starts in September. The other locations in the US are in California right now.
So I was thinking maybe we should go right to coaching. What do you think, Sharon?
We could, and I wonder if, yeah, maybe we should. I agree.
Okay.
And so we'll hold, you know, questions and answers for after that. We definitely want to take your questions.
And so what we're going to do now is ask for a volunteer for me to coach for about 12 minutes. And
and Pete, we actually don't need this slide up, but we will, yeah, we don't need, yeah, perfect.
Will you need any slide?
Not right now.
Not for the coaching, no. We're just gonna, and so we're looking for a volunteer. How can they volunteer, Pete?
Great. So there is a button in the upper left of the video that you're watching that says raise hand. So click that, and first person to click it will be our volunteer.
While we're waiting, here's some suggestions for the people who are going to be listening to this coaching. We want you to notice a couple of different things. So first, I want you to notice the specific things I'm doing that make a difference in this conversation. So what are the things I do in relationship to the person that move them to a new place?
So in that sense, we're asking you to think about coaching skills, even though you may not know the name of them. When Stephen says the things he's doing, you know, what are the skills you're noticing? And just jot those down.
Some of them will be very simple, you know, and obvious, and we're not looking for odd things. These are based in really basic skills, and we'd like you to notice them. And the other thing is, I'd like you to notice what my come from places. What are my beliefs about coaching or the person that I'm coaching? So make some notes while you're listening.
Okay, do we have any volunteers, Pete?
Sorry, I'm here. I don't see anybody raising their hand. So, yeah. Well,
so we really want to show you this. Let's see, what would make this? We don't want to put you on the spot. This is a gift from me to you, from us to you, is the chance to explore something that means something to you, where maybe you're stuck with something or there's something you'd like to shift. Another thing is, I think we can ask whoever is on this webinar to keep confidential anything that you hear. Yeah. So we do ask that, definitely. And of course, that's part of the coaching, and the coaching program is the commitment to confidentiality.
Another thing to think about is that this is the beginning of the year, and a lot of times people make resolutions, or it's a goal-setting time for people, something that you want to accomplish this year or do that maybe you haven't been able to do before, something you're thinking about stretching into a little bit more. And it's going to be a short coaching, you know, what is it, about 12 minutes or so?
Yep. And
I think in the absence of a volunteer, Stephen will wind up coaching me, and I think you're going to miss out on the best that you could have.
And also, you're going to have a chance to coach Sharon, so
right.
You'll see her being coached anyway.
Who's especially brave today? So yeah. Willing to step into your power and volunteer for this. It would be great if you want to do it by video, but if not, you probably could do it
just audio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It could be audio only. I thought I might mention a few names of people that are in our group here.
Could you at least let us know who's on the call? Because I feel like we don't know who's here.
Well, we have Maureen, Courtney, Katya, Nina, Pete, Regina, I think. Are any of you folks willing to be coached? It's a great experience. I actually went through the program myself. It's a wonderful experience, helping you deepen your life into what you really value on a deeper level. And this could be a little sample of it, I suspect.
Another possibility, Stephen, might be to have them coach me first, which is not ideal, but it might help people come up with some ideas.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I think we might have one volunteer here.
All right.
It seems like Pete Zimmerman is willing.
Thanks.
But he doesn't have a raise hand button, so let me see if I can get you going here, Pete. Hang on.
Maybe.
So.
Pete.
Hi, Pete.
Can you click your mute button in the corner to activate your?
How's that?
There you go.
That's perfect.
Great. Thanks, Pete.
Sure.
You're willing to be a client?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I think we just lost your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Oh, you just moved on my screen. That's all.
Okay.
So we're going to go for about 12 minutes. And as I said, we're going to keep confidential anything that you say. And let's just start with what it is that you would like to bring to coaching. So this is something you would like to shift or explore or deepen, grow. It could be, so let me just name this for people who know nothing about coaching as well as you. It could be a situation in your life. It could be a relationship. It could be a facet of your life, like I want to have more satisfaction in my job, or I want to change where I live. There are lots of different options, but it's a sense of here's something that where I would like to shift it to something new. So given that, what would you like to bring to coaching?
Sure. Well, I think what I'd like to bring to coaching is my commitment to the environment. And I happen to be in that business, but to essentially bring that to another level and a different level that involves empowering others to empower others to make a real difference in what's important to them in the environment, and to, find a forum for that and gain skills in making a real impact on frankly a large group of people in that regard.
Fantastic. So thank you for that work. And if our time, our 12 minutes is incredibly successful, where would you like to be at the end of it?
I would like to be left with a sense of what's possible that frankly isn't occurring to me right now.
Okay, so new possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do want, imagine like a lot is possible, because we really can do a lot in coaching. Like if more is possible than you can even imagine, what would you want to achieve in this session?
I would say I would, maybe this is too small, but I would come out with, one or two very concrete things to be in action on that were fairly well defined, that really didn't occur to me before. And I have to say I've taken on some things like this before, and yeah, I do have some practice in making a difference with groups and with individuals in this regard. But I think one of the things that I run up against, and maybe a bunch of people on this call, is, I have a very full-time job as a consultant. It's not an incidental consulting job. It's, national, it's global, it's very intense. And, the whole issue of coming to grips with time and effectiveness in that regard is a real focus of mine. For me, as a consultant, the question always is this the best use of my time?
Fantastic. So if we can get to this, if we can get to a few clearly defined concrete actions, what will that give you?
That will give me a much better definition of the future that I intend to be pulled by on a daily basis. So I'm not, I'm looking. Yeah, it'd be great to have a breakthrough right here on the phone, in the session. But truly, I'm looking to create a frame for living that adds power. When I wake up tomorrow morning, it's there, and it will express itself in action. And with respect to that whole question of time and time spent and when and how should I be doing this, and I have no trouble finding who to talk to. That's not an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go for it. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to imagine the future that you are living into. You talked about being pulled by that future. And so I'm going to ask you to put yourself there already. You're already in that future that you're building for yourself and for the world, where it's an active part of your life, and it fits with this consulting job or the other parts of your life as well. We don't have to know how yet, but just imagine you're there already. Will you do that?
Yeah.
And just notice what it's like to inhabit this future that is calling you. What do you notice?
A sense of power, sense of excitement, sense of confidence, and also a sense of group, a sense of not being alone and pushing on something, but being within a community.
Yeah, I can hear it. So as you're speaking, what are you noticing?
I'm beginning to notice where I have withheld from myself or acknowledged for myself all the participants that are with me in what I've been talking about and their commitment that's already shared, and already noticing like behaviors I could take to structure and organize and move that community of
Yes.
like-minded people. Yeah.
Wow. So it just feels like, and as I talk to you, like there's a potential arising here that was always there, but you're noticing more. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a big potential. You see, in the coaching, I got a chance to throw away the whole idea that I'm alone in this, and I'm the only one, and I'm the only one that has these thoughts and these fears and these concerns and all that crap. And a chance, and when that is gone, right, then there's room to see. I literally have faces and technologies and organizations coming before me, just in that. I guess the word is a clearing, or the space that's left, the number of options left opening now. Yeah.
I am really struck by your passion, your commitment, just the power of your vision and focus. What strikes you?
It's the same. I fully intend to use this coaching to revisit my deep-seated passion and power in this, and my ability to make a difference, which I have for quite a few years. This is like the next level, way beyond. And so, so I'm experiencing that.
Well, fantastic. So from this place of potential and ideas, let's see what concrete possibilities can emerge. Are you willing? Like what is available as you stand in this future that you are in the process of creating?
There's several things that occur to me, and I probably will want a little more coaching on them specifically. The thing is, what's true is that there are communities that don't relate powerfully, or as powerfully as they can, in bringing the technologies and approaches to, let us say, for lack of a better phrase, climate change, and addressing climate change. And so what begins to occur to me as a possibility is, for example, engaging with the appropriate people at Harvard and at NJIT, with some of the people and some of the new ocean monitoring technology that's just coming on board now. That's a revolution in that, creating that relationship. And then there's an empty space there. I have my consulting community to bring into that. There's something that's missing in terms of the structure of that, which maybe has to evolve from the conversations that we have.
So it sounds like you have a place to begin. Will you say what you know so far about where you want to begin?
Well, I think where I want to begin is, frankly, in the area of exploring what is the conversation that's possible that probably hasn't been had amongst these organizations, the conversation for what's possible that hasn't been had, and literally raise that as a conversation.
Great. What is the conversation that has not yet been had?
Exactly. And frankly, my feeling is it has to remain a question. It occurs in participation, not by my figuring it out by myself. It has to be owned,
right,
by the group.
And so how do you begin this process? It sounds like you're ready to begin the process.
Yeah, I've let myself be delayed by some expert witness stuff and other things that were necessary to do. But I think there are a couple things to read in terms of new ocean monitoring technology. There's a conversation to have with the head of that technology, and there is, frankly, I think I think there's an email to send to the head of the Harvard Business School, who's a friend of ours, to actually begin to see where do I access that particular community in the most powerful way with respect to this.
Okay, so here's what I wrote down. Read the articles on the new ocean measuring technology, have the conversation with, I forget who though. Who's the conversation?
It's just the head of the technology initiative.
Okay, right, head of the technology initiative, and then email the head of the Harvard Business School to initiate the content. How does this feel in terms of what you're wanting to get out of this session?
Oh, it's great. It's great because it's focused, right? I've got, it's actionable.
Great.
Actionable, and it's not a sense of like burden.
Good.
Right.
So let me just check, because there are a couple other things that we might want to do. One is, are there things that you want to cut out of your life to make more room for this? Things you want to put to the side for now?
I can't think of anything right now that needs to go or that I would want to go, although I am exploring, at age 61, and I've always been a consultant. So when we talk about that, we view consultancy years like dog years.
Yeah, but so let me ask you a question. You don't know that. Will you hold that question? What is it that I'm ready to set aside, even temporarily?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of that question right now, deciding whether I scale back on full-time consultancy to spend more resources in this area.
Right.
And frankly, I mean, just saying spend a little more time in gardening, plant propagation, some other areas where I've also very grounded from the childhood values.
I can hear there's some heart-centered or connected thing that comes up in you when you talk about the garden stuff. Is that, yeah?
Yeah. This is all gardening to me, frankly. It's just.
Yeah, I get it. The other thing I just want to offer you, because we're just ending right here, is if it would serve you, you could check in with me by email in a week or two and let me know how it's going, if that would help.
Yep, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to waste this resource.
Good. Great. So let me make sure you will have my email at the end, but let me give it to you right now. It's Steven, S-T-E-V-E-N.
Let me just quickly pull up a Word file. Hold on.
Sure.
And let me just go to the top. Okay, go.
It's Steven, S-T-E-V-E-N, at leadershipthatworks.com.
Got it.
Pete, thank you. You really maximized those 12 minutes. You are so committed. I really appreciate that. It's like, we're going to go for it. And so thank you for that.
I really appreciate that recognition. That really rings true. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Pete. That was great. Steven, great coaching. So we want to actually ask you to, hopefully you've been taking some notes, and if you haven't, we want to just give you maybe 30 seconds to jot down anything that you still need to jot down about what you saw Steven doing here, just so that we can hear a couple of those things. And also what his attitude was about Pete, his beliefs about him and his ability.
Pete, or about coaching?
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is invite you to raise your hands, but we'll also just call on people, and feel free to pass if you don't have anything. But we'd love to hear some of the things that you noticed. So make some notes, and then we'll hear from as many as we can in just a few minutes. Is that long enough? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So you may raise your hand by pressing 1, or we can also ask people and see if there are things that you noticed. And of course, you can always pass. So if you notice any ones, Pete.
Nobody raising their hand right now. There's also the chat panel, or there's a Q&A box too if people want to use that. Probably chat or the raise hand button is best.
And what do you think about just calling on people and seeing if they know what they noticed?
Sure. So
that would mean you.
Can you see the names of the people that are attending too? There's a panel there next to panelists. It says viewers.
No, we don't.
I don't have that.
You don't have that.
Oh, now I see them. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you do, Sharon?
I clicked on the thing that said viewers in the participants panel. So I wonder, Katya, if you would be willing to share something you saw. And how will we know the answer, Pete?
Can you give her a microphone?
Yeah, Katya, we can, well, I can, let's see. Well, if I promote her to panelist, I think that her video will turn on.
You may not want that.
Yeah, that.
Can we, is there a way to just call on people and give them an audio mic? Okay.
No.
What would you do if they pressed 1? Then you would import them?
Is there a 1? What do you press if they want to?
There's the raise hand button. If they click that, that indicates they want to be heard. And then.
And where is that? Do people know where it is?
It's in the upper left corner of the video screen. It may not be on because you're panelists.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, rather than try and drag it out of people, why don't we just briefly talk about it? What do you think, Sharon?
I was thinking that.
We don't want to force people to do anything, and we invite you to. So, if you'd like, we're gonna. By the way, a thing that's coming is we're going to invite all of you to Coach Sharon, which will mean asking her questions. So, and again, that's for your enjoyment and learning. So,
and I think that would probably best happen in the chat area. So,
great. Yep.
Okay, so some of the things I noticed. One is there was this. Stephen was listening deeply, very deeply, but listening to what was really important to Pete. And so that listening, asking open-ended questions, naming excitement that he heard and passion. It's a skill we call naming what's present, so that naming, not giving advice at all. What are some of the other things, Stephen?
So really getting from Pete what it was that he wanted. So having Pete define the outcome that he wants. So what's his goal? What is it that matters to him? And what will that give him? So that I don't presume to know what's important to my clients. My job is to ask questions to help them discover for themselves what they want, what they hope for. I actually asked him twice to see, because sometimes the first time I ask, it feels like maybe there's more that my client might be wanting. So in this case, I asked again, and it focused it. You notice that he went, at the second time I asked, it was to get to those concrete actions, to really hone in on his time and his effectiveness. And so yeah, listening, asking questions, naming what was present. And then I think the main thing I did was, he mentioned wanting to be pulled by the future.
Right.
And so I invited him to envision that future and to live into it. And when he did, he noticed all sorts of things. He felt powerful, confident. He was no longer alone. So it was interesting, when he was looking at it as a problem, he felt like it was only him. And then when we jumped into that future, suddenly he was aware of all the other people who were in the process with him. And from there, the useful actions and I asked him, to really commit to the actions and to be accountable. So he's going to let me know in 2 weeks what happens with this plan that he's come up with. So coaching is definitely not just a conversation. It's about shifting who we are in relationship to something and then getting into action around it so that we can change our lives.
And I think what's so interesting about that, I hope people heard what you just said. I want to just put another emphasis on it, is when Pete stepped into that ideal future, all of the things that have been getting in the way, so all of the inner chatter, all of the reasons why it couldn't work or why he was alone, those kind of lost their power. And so you were able to help him shift his relationship even with those obstacles, so that they were no longer obstacles. By living into the future, he got to feel it and really own it. Great.
All right. So
I wonder if we should just check and see if anyone has any questions. I'm not seeing any, but
I like that idea.
If anybody has any questions, you can type them in that Q&A panel. The panel is actually at the bottom of your screen. And if you don't, we'll move on, and hopefully you will put some questions in the chat so that you can actually coach me. And yeah, we're only going to have a couple of people ask me questions.
And so I will supplement them.
Okay.
And maybe we should talk about, what do you think about putting up the slide?
Yes.
So
yes.
We want to help you. So we're going to put up a slide that shows, there we go. So in general, what we're looking for in the questions are ones that are open-ended, usually beginning with what or how. So open-ending meaning that they don't have yes or no answers, that they, and that help people discover for themselves. So they elicit new learning or new action. Wow, we keep moving around.
Yeah. So that they're helping people go deeper to get connected with what's really important to them at the core. And from that place, then they can design some actions going forward from those new discoveries. So what I'm going to be looking for are you to ask me some of the questions that you see examples of below. And we'll leave these up so that you could actually ask these questions. And I will share just briefly what it is that I'd like your help with, what I want coaching on. You ready?
And I think the thing to say is this is a real coaching issue.
Yes.
We don't do pretend things. So this is something that Sharon would love some help with, and your help with. And so go ahead, Sharon.
Okay. So on New Year's Eve this year, 8 of us in my family created vision boards together. And so the focus of it was really to live a balanced life and to make health a focus. So balance. And some of the things that were on that vision board had to do with family, yoga and meditation, whole foods, community gardens, things like that, and really being able to, and teaching and my work, so that I'm really wanting to live more in balance where all of those things that are important to me become a part of my life and no one thing dominates. I tend to be someone who will work hard and not play enough, and so I'm looking for balance this year.
All right, so that's what she wants. And I'm going to ask a first question and then invite you to add more to it. So, Sharon, what do you hope to be at the end of this coaching session?
I'd love to be excited. I'm already excited. I'd love to have a can-do attitude, like maybe a little bit more clarity and more commitment to just creating that balance, and maybe an idea of what that would look like.
Okay, so now we know what she wants. Feeling like she can do it, commitment, and an idea of what it would look like. Now we invite you to, through chat or raising your hand, ask Sharon a question. And this is just for practice. There's no right one. So you can ask the ones that are up there or one of your own.
And we're actually inviting you to step in as coaches tonight so that you get a chance to experience what it's like to really support someone in achieving something they want to achieve.
One question to ask yourself is, from the place you're sitting now, what are you curious about Sharon? So, I mean, like, there are a lot of questions there. What's important about it? What do you really want? What are you noticing? What are you feeling? What are the obstacles? All of these might be things that you're curious about, given what she's said.
And just notice with those that they start with what, how questions are really powerful too. They're all questions that are going to open up my thinking about this.
Okay.
Oh.
We've got one. Can you read that?
Yes. So we have one from Maureen. When you think about this balanced life, how does it make you feel? Oh my God, it makes me feel relaxed. The first word that came to me was awesome. Relaxed, content, purposeful. It's like taking a breath. It's like that, finally understanding the meaning of waiting to exhale. Great question, Maureen.
And by the way, you can ask, you don't have to only ask one, Maureen. You can ask more. Other people can ask questions as well.
And we're, really going to only do this for another 5 minutes or so. We want to leave time for you to ask questions about the program. So please feel free to just jump in with your questions.
All right. Here's the next question from Maureen. What do you think you can do to make this happen?
what's interesting about that is this morning I got up and I did yoga, so I could decide. I guess I have trouble prioritizing. I have trouble knowing where to start. So in some ways, I could make a list and just try to dive into it, and I might like to learn a little bit more about what gets in the way.
So just to notice that you can ask about action, but often that will come after the client has shifted. So here's a different question. This is from Trini Broadway. Why is having a balanced life important to you?
Yeah, great question. I find that when it's not balanced, I'm not accomplishing the things that are most important to me. So family is really important to me. Community is really important. I'm interested in learning more about community gardening and actually getting in there with folks and doing it. If I'm not balancing, then I'm working too hard and not leaving enough time for things that bring joy and those creative expressions and the community connection. That's important to me. Great question.
And she follows up with, I actually don't know if it's a she, but I'm assuming, what has stopped you in the past from having a balanced life? I still get that smile.
I have my background in corporate, and in corporate, there's the expectation that you work nonstop. And so I think there's part of that I carry with me. And I think the other thing is when I finally am able to do work I love, I feel like a kid in the candy store. I want to do it all. And so I say yes to too many things because they feel nourishing and they feel good. But too much of a good thing, like too much candy, make you sick.
Mm. All right, any more questions? There's still more we can do.
Well, maybe another one from you, Stephen, just to kind of tie it together, one or two, and then we can create some space for some questions about the program.
All right. So as you talk about a balanced life, what do you notice that brings you alive?
Yeah, the three things that felt most enlivening were more quality time with family, community gardening, being in nature more, which I hadn't really mentioned, but yeah.
And here's a question from one of our participants. What actions have you started to take to implement a balanced life? So let me read it again. What actions have you started to take to implement a balanced life?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I have started focusing on eating more whole foods. And I've also started incorporating yoga a little bit more regularly, and I've committed to taking yoga teacher training this year. So
wow.
Those are starts.
Yeah. And so based on what you've discovered, what feels possible to start?
Actually, yeah, there was one more thing, and that's a possibility. I do have a meeting tomorrow with a woman from my church who's 100 years old, who shared with me the joy of gardening and how it connects her to spirit. And so tomorrow I'm going to go and talk with her, and that feels like it satisfies both that community connection and a desire to learn more about gardening. Yeah, so that feels like a good first step. And that involved creating space in my schedule on a weekday to go spend some time with her, which is nice. So I think this is a good place maybe to wrap that up, Stephen. What do you think?
I think so too.
Okay. Yeah, and we're going to tell you what's available for you and next steps, but we'd love to just see if anyone has any questions right now while everyone is still on the call. Stephen and I will stay on after the call to answer any questions people have.
This is your opportunity to ask about coaching, about the coaching program, anything that interests you. So you can either raise your hand or use the chat function to
or
ask.
even the Q&A box.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe even, maybe even while they're thinking about that, we can let
Put
them
up the
know.
last slide, or
Yeah, one of the things we want to offer to you, so anyone who's on the call or anyone who listens to the webinar after the call, you will receive information by email tomorrow, anyone who registered, and you'll be able to have a 30-minute phone conversation with either one of us or another member of the faculty, and that way you'll have a private opportunity to ask any questions that you have, or even to receive a bit of coaching.
so here's a question, which is, what is the schedule during the week for this 9-month program? Is it an everyday class, and are some courses online? So the 9-month program that we're teaching starting in New York is 6 in-person weekends starting in March. So it's March, and then usually 6 to 8 weeks later will be the next in-person. And then in between, there'll be one class on the phone every week that you call into a number, and then we're all on the same line, and that's 90 minutes. And you have a choice of Tuesday at 7 p.m. or Wednesday at noon. You can call into either one. You can choose each week which you'd like to come to. So it's just once a week for 90 minutes.
Now, the other thing is, this is for the course that Stephen and I are going to be starting in March, and we're hoping that if you're local enough to get to New York, that you might be considering that. And if you're not, there's an all-distance learning program that's starting next week. As a matter of fact, it's starting next Tuesday, where all of the classes are by phone, and that goes for 11 months, and it meets twice a week. I'm not sure of the times, but we could get that information to you.
And that one, it is already at the $84.95 price.
Yes, that's a
the
good
New
point.
York one that Sharon and I are teaching, where you can get the $74.95 cost if you register in January, so in the next 2 weeks. But you can do an all by phone program. It's longer than 9 months, so it goes January to December, right, Sharon?
Yes, yeah. But for anybody who's calling into this webinar, connecting in from out of state, we have had people actually fly in from Europe and Hawaii and around the country.
Yes, Atlanta. So it's
Canada too. We have people come from Canada, and
yeah.
But
So
the distance learning is an option for you if being there in person is not an option. So all of your classes would be by phone. Any other questions? We're actually looking forward to the opportunity to speak with you all. So please take advantage of the 30-minute complimentary session if you're interested in it. We can use that to either answer questions or to give you a bit of coaching. Oh, Yeah, so explain the weekend schedule again. Okay. And so on the weekends, the classes are from 9 to 6 on Saturday and Sunday. And they're actually a total of 6 weekends spread 6 to 8 weeks apart. The teleclasses are in between for 34 of those weeks. There's about 2 weeks where you don't have a teleclass. And they're offered twice a week. You get to choose one on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time or Wednesday at noon Eastern Time for an hour and a half. And at the end of the program, you are a certified professional coach. When you meet all of the requirements, then you get your certification, and that's all you really need to do.
The nice thing about this program is at the end of the program, you already will have some paying clients, you will have a certification, and you will have a community of classmates that you've spent 9 months with, who almost everyone stays connected to their group if they want to. Here's another question. What happens if you miss a weekend? One of the nice things about the program is that we build that in to the program. So the requirement from the International Coach Federation is 125 hours, and ours is over 140. So there's room to miss a few teleclasses or up to 1 weekend. And what we do is, if you miss an entire weekend, we ask you to do a makeup. And that makeup is a class taught by Sharon or me to give you all the information from the weekend. So, and there is a charge for that, but it means that you can stay in the program even if you miss a weekend. We make it work so that you can.
One of the things you'll find is that there's just an incredible amount of support. Everybody who is committed to finishing and getting certified gets certified. And Stephen and I are always, and all of the faculty, very committed, faculty and mentors committed to helping everyone succeed. So leadership that works really bends backwards to make sure that, you know, people's needs are met. The other thing we want to share is that there are a limited number of scholarships available. So if finances are an issue for you, you know, please reach out to us and let us know. We can connect you with the scholarship application. And on the Leadership That Works website, there's also information about raising money in other ways, such as crowdsourcing, or, you know, there's a number of things. There are about 9 different options there of how you could finance the course.
The thing that, you know, it's like, think about what it is that would make you want to learn the coaching skills. And it's going to be different. The thing that the coaching course gives you is the power to make a difference in your interactions with other people. And that's the thing that I find, yes, there's another question and we'll get to that too. That's the thing that I find most amazing about being a coach, is that I get to be part of people transforming their lives. And to me, that there's just nothing like that feeling. So.
And before we go to the question, I just want to add, I forgot to mention that I am a graduate of this particular program of Coaching for Transformation. I was certified in 2007, and it really was a life-changing experience for me in many ways. It wasn't just that I was able to leave my corporate job. It was that I found my confidence, I found my voice, I found who I, you know, was able to step into my authenticity and to be able to communicate in ways that I never could before. So it really was life-altering. We hear many of our graduates say that they're stepping into things that they wouldn't have even thought possible before they took the training.
So, Sharon, I'm not sure how to answer the, can you go over your with New York College.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can, Pete. The New York Open Center has a relationship with the New York College. It's separate from our program. Pete, can you speak to that?
Well, I don't know if perhaps the person's confusing the New York College with the Open Center. So the New York College is a facility that uses space in the Open Center. It's not organizationally connected to the Open Center, and it's not connected to this coaching training program. So this coaching training program is done in cooperation between the Open Center and Leadership That Works.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that answered the question. If not, please let us know. Any other questions? We have our contact information up here on the slide. You know, if anything comes to you after the training, feel free to reach out to either one of us or to Kim Mercaldo, who is the administrative assistant extraordinaire who keeps everything moving for these courses. You can also call the Open Center and speak with someone in registration, and they're at extension 2.
So, what? Go ahead.
I wanted to say, if anyone is in the New York area, Stephen and I are doing an in-person 2-hour free intro this coming Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. So, you know, we'd love to have you join us in person so we can see you and you can interact with us live if you happen to be available and interested.
And we'd love to have you sign up and see you in March. So if you're ready to sign up, you can call the Open Center. Please do it now if you're ready.
What else can we say? Well, any other questions? You can ask us questions even about our own experience as coaches or anything else you might want to know.
So here's what I would suggest that we do with our time is actually teach a skill, since there are no more questions.
Okay. Yeah, and actually I was curious, and maybe no one is willing, I was curious to see if anyone would be willing to let us know what's drawn them to coaching or curious about this program.
Oh, I like that.
We'll give that a try, and if no one's answering, we'll teach a skill. So if anyone feels like sharing what drew them to this program or to this webinar or what you're curious about in terms of coaching, you could share that with us. Looking for a more peaceful life. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Maureen works with someone who graduated from our program a couple of years ago. Anyone else want to share?
I can definitely say that coaching has given me a more peaceful life. Just in terms of my ability to be kinder to myself, make choices that are more in line with who I am at my deepest self. It really has made a huge difference. I feel like I am a completely different person than the person I was when I started coaching.
Me too. Now, one of the things I think I hit on, but we didn't go into deeply. Maybe we did, but one thing that's really special about the Coaching for Transformation community is the way people from across cultures get to really come together and exchange and experience each other in a really deep way over 9 months. And most of us don't have access to that with so many people. for an extended period of time. Many people have said it's a gift. Yeah. So we have a share, someone who wants to step into their power. I can relate to that. That's what I wanted. Thanks for sharing.
So coaching is or learning to coach is an incredible way to step into your power, partly because it's a requirement. In order to be a good coach, one has to find oneself. One has to explore one's own issues and step beyond the normal limitations and be willing to go deeper for the sake of myself, but also for the sake of the person who I'm coaching. What was your experience with that, Sharon?
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking as you were talking, I was really deathly shy before I took the program. I would force myself into social settings, but I was never comfortable. And I think that may be the biggest change for me, just being comfortable in my own skin, comfortable around anybody, and clear about what's most important to me. Also learning the skills to help me work with issues that come up, because even though we're coaches, we're not free of problems and challenges. But I find that the coaching skills really support me in looking at my own stuff in a different way, which is kind of what you hit on too, Stephen.
And it also reminds me of the thing that it feels like I certainly needed to learn, but that almost everyone who learns to be a coach needs to really get, that I don't have to be perfect. My life doesn't have to be perfect for me to be able to make a difference in other people's lives. And so that was really important to me, because I have a strong perfectionist streak, and coaching really helped me get past that and to know that I can be the person I am today and make a difference in people's lives, make a powerful difference in people's lives. Partly because I don't have to give them advice. I learn the coaching skills and the coaching mindset, and from that place, I can make a difference no matter what. So.
Yeah. One last thing I want to add, even though I've chosen to step out of the corporate arena, I was able to do workshops for the company that I used to work for. And, and those workshops were really valuable. Actually, one of the managers I did a workshop for has taken the Coaching for Transformation program and has brought these skills into her workplace, and is getting really positive feedback as a result. So yeah, it doesn't mean you have to change careers. There's plenty of opportunity to use the skills in your family life and in whatever career you happen to be in.
Okay, I think it's time.
I think so.
So we've loved being with you. We look forward to meeting as many of you as possible in person. Hopefully, we'll see many of you in the upcoming certification program in March.
And if you happen to join the distance learning, then we may wind up mentoring you. It's a tight-knit community, so I'm sure our paths will cross again at some point. Don't forget, you'll get an email tomorrow, most likely, about signing up for a session with one of us. So please feel free to do that. We'd love to chat with you.
Okay. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, we'll hang out for a bit. If anybody has any questions, just hang out and you can ask those. And Pete, thanks so much for your help to make this happen.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. So